Gladiator.
That they were making another Gladiator.
Gladiator.
So Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Gladiator is a film, though, that I want to watch.
Are you not entertained? I must have power.
And I love that.
Okay, so today we're gonna try something a little different.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Mr. Bean?
Rowan Atkinson? Yeah, of course.
Right, so what if we, dropped him right into the middle of the Colosseum
I mean,
in ancient Rome?
interesting, yeah.
Could he survive? What would his chances be?
Well, I mean, probably not great, right? I mean, this is a guy who could barely, make a cup of tea without causing a disaster.
Yeah, but...
So facing down a trained gladiator, well...
Right, but that's kind of the point of this whole deep dive.
Okay, sure.
Today, we're going to look at the historical context of gladiatorial combat and kind of compare that to this modern comedic character.
Yeah, to see what would happen if those two worlds collide.
Exactly. So, we've got this clash between desperation and spectacle.
Right.
On the one hand, you've got these gladiators fighting for their lives.
Right, they're slaves or prisoners of war.
Yeah.
And they're literally fighting to survive each day.
Yeah, and then on the other hand, you've got the Roman crowds.
Yeah. The audience.
Who are looking for entertainment.
They want to be wowed, they want blood, they want excitement.
Exactly. So how would Mr. Bean even fit into that?
Well, he's not exactly known for his swordsmanship.
No, he's more like, slapstick, comedy.
Exactly.
Physical humor, silly misunderstandings.
Right.
So could those kinds of antics even work in the arena?
It's hard to imagine him intimidating a Murmurillo, with his huge helmet and sword.
Right.
Just by, accidentally tripping over his own feet.
Yeah, and think about the Reteriarius, the gladiator with the net and the trident.
Oh, yeah.
Can you picture Mr. Bean trying to, hide from him behind a teddy bear?
It's kind of funny to think about, but also terrifying.
Right. Because in the Colosseum, that kind of behavior wouldn't be seen as funny.
It would be seen as weakness.
Exactly. So he'd be completely out of his element.
Totally. But there's another angle to consider here.
Okay.
The Roman crowds, they weren't just bloodthirsty.
Right.
They also loved the unusual. They loved to be surprised.
So you're saying Mr. Bean's strangeness could actually work in his favor?
It's possible. I mean, imagine him wandering into the arena completely clueless.
Yeah.
Staring at the emperor, picking his nose. Or
Oh, gosh.
The audience might be so thrown off guard,
Yeah.
they might actually find it hilarious.
But would that be enough to keep him alive?
That's the big question, right? Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
this is still a fight to the death.
Right.
And Mr. Bean doesn't exactly have any fighting skills.
He's more of a lover, not a fighter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe his knack for improvising
Okay.
could somehow translate to the arena.
How so?
Well, he's a master at using everyday objects in unexpected ways.
Right, like that turkey on his head at Christmas.
Exactly. So maybe he could, use his coat hanger to disarm a gladiator or distract a lion with a funny dance.
It sounds crazy.
It does.
But who knows? I mean, the Romans, they loved a good story.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bean's story would be one for the ages.
The bumbling fool who somehow manages to survive against all odds.
It's like a twisted fairy tale.
In a way, it is.
So, what do you think? Would the Romans find him charming?
Hard to say. Their idea of charm was probably pretty different from ours.
Right.
But if he could make them laugh,
Yeah.
maybe that would be enough to win them over.
Enough to earn their thumbs up.
Possibly. So in the end,
Yeah.
we can't say for sure whether Mr. Bean would live or die in the Colosseum.
Right.
But it's a fascinating thought experiment.
It really is.
It makes us think about the nature of entertainment.
Yeah.
The things that make us laugh, the things that horrify us.
And how those things can sometimes be the same thing.
Exactly. And it also makes us think about how our own forms of entertainment
Yeah.
reflect our own values and anxieties.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So next time you're watching TV or scrolling through social media,
Okay.
ask yourself, what does this say about us?
Wow.
What does it say about what we find amusing, what we find disturbing?
That's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's worth considering.
It is. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
Okay.